Thank you for joining us at Lovely Day in Oakland for a lovely day for a conversation hosted by myself.
Don't go too crazy. Just calm down, everybody.
We're not trying to get too lit. Come on now.
Says who?
Hosted by myself, Bar for Bar, and DJ Ambush of Drums and Ammo.
Salute.
I almost sounded like that was coming up on the mics too.
Yeah.
Anyways, today on our fourth session, we have Cash Campaign joining us.
Yeah.
Yo.
What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up, Oakland? What's up, y'all? Man, I'm happy to be here, man. The platform is immaculate, so I'm happy to be on it today. For real.
Appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time to sit with us. It's super love.
Absolutely, man. We in here. It's a nice little holiday season, and you know what I'm saying? We still making good content, great art, so let's do it.
Yeah.
That
Get some to watch over the holidays.
Absolutely, man. As soon as you post this, if I'm still off work, I'm sending it to my mom like, I know you ain't at work, so you gotta watch this whole thing front to back.
Yeah, you got time.
Yeah, that's why I've been telling everyone else, like, y'all better come through. You got the rest of the week off.
Exactly. You ain't doing nothing.
We're recording this on December 23rd for anyone who's watching it.
Yes, sir.
So it's like right before all that. But anyways, Cash Campaign.
Yes.
Who are you?
Man, who am I? The $1 million question that people can save thousands in therapy if they can answer on their own. I will answer for you right now in 20 seconds. No, man, I'm originally from South Sacramento, California. R&B singer, among other things, a doctor, a family man, just a creative, just somebody who really a writer. I don't know. I act. I don't know if I want to say I'm an actor, but I do act. Not funny style, but I do act. But yeah, so I'm just a creative, man. I consider myself an artist. Like when people say like, what do you do? Who are you? Whatever. I just say I'm an artist. He got like 87 kids now, but one time Nick Cannon was giving an interview and he said like, somebody asked him like, what do you want to bring to the world? And he said, I just want to be able to make a living being creative. And I was like, that's all I want. Like, I want to be able to make a living off of what comes out of me with my ideas that I come up with and ways that I drive things. So that's what I am, man. And that's what brought me here. So I guess I'm doing a pretty good job. That's what I'm gonna say, at least today.
Yeah, easily. I mean, you've been busy at work. I think we first met or got to know each other when you were doing the stuff with Casey Cope for
Yes,
Camp
sir.
1, right?
Yes, Camp 1. Shout out to Camp. Shout out to all the camp folks, the camp alumni, the creators of Camp, Casey Cope, Marquito. Those are my brothers. So long before Camp was I remember when Casey first told me about the idea of Camp. It wasn't even like there was no studio idea. He was literally just like, I got this crazy idea, and I was like, whatever you need. And to see them be on Camp 3, I tell them all the time, like, don't take that lightly. Like, you create something out of nothing.
What's Camp? What's that?
So Camp, QAMP, Camp is a 3-day album creation session where Casey, Marquito, they have a studio in Berkeley, called The Q, and they just invite like 15 artists together, musicians, engineers, producers, singers, rappers, songwriters, everybody. And there's three rooms in the studio, and you just go in a room and you just do whatever comes to you. Everybody makes beats, or you lay a verse, or you add a harmony or ad libs, and it's just this big melting pot. And then stuff gets cut, redone, added, whatever, and then at the end of 3 days, whatever you have, that's what you have. And then the album gets mixed down for like 3 months, and then it comes out. And so they've done 3 albums so far. I was blessed to be a part of Camp 1 and Camp 2, and then there's a show we do, a show where everybody comes and performs all their stuff. And so it's just been great, man. And Camp 3 just came out, and so just it brings the Bay Area together, and people from all different elements of music, they just come together. There's no egos, there's no this person gets 10 verses because they're a big draw. It's like if you're the biggest name in the room but you only got 1 verse on 1 song, because that's just how it kind of boiled down, it's just cool. So I love Camp, and it's something that I hope continues for like Camp 50, where like people is like 60 years old and like their kids are like, my dad was in Camp. Like I'm praying for that for them. So to be a part of it is dope. So
Yeah, no, that's the whole idea of camp was great to me, and I'm looking forward to the conversation we have with Casey, because I'm sure he'll break all that down even further.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Me and Casey, we literally have been like, I remember the first day I met him, the first day I actually met Casey, he was like trying to put a show together, and he was just like, "You do music?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "You think you could sell 20 tickets?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can sell 20 tickets to a show." And he was like, "Let's do a show together." And we literally, first show we ever did, grassroots in Berkeley at this place called the Back Room, and we sold it out. It was 125 people. We sold the whole thing out, and I was just like, "Yo, maybe we should like keep making music, keep rocking with each other, because we're pretty
good idea,
pretty good, pretty talented." And then, you know, the rest is history. So
those are like two different skill sets too.
Absolutely,
like
That's for sure.
doing the music and then actually having folks, being able to, you know, corral a few folks. So yeah, you need to lock in, stay
Absolutely.
locked in with the Casey Cope.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the fam, man. That's the family.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier when we were setting everything up. Like, it's one thing to be an artist and put out the music. I mean, you can do all that all day, but actually being able to bring people out to see you perform and then also have your stage presence is it's a whole nother skill in itself.
It's a whole nother skill in itself, and a lot of people will be surprised. Some of their favorite artists don't have that skill, but they never had to.
Yeah.
They never had to have it because they had a whole bunch of people working for them that took care of that part of it for them. So that's why I give independent artists a lot more salutes, because it's one thing to have to get your clothes ready for a show and then make sure you have your live mixes and then make sure your stage presence is dope and you take care of your voice before the show, and you don't have anybody going to get you food. You got to get your food, make sure your stuff is ready. You got to drive yourself there. It's like all of that people don't see until somebody's on stage for like 20 minutes. That's all they get. But it's like a 2-week process to give the best show. And you could go on stage and just make noise, but when you actually give a good performance and you have people when you're leaving the show say, "Yo, I'm gonna follow you. Yo, I'm gonna support your next album," that's not easy. That takes like giving of yourself and your spirit. That's what creativity and being an artist is about. So, you know, it's great. You can just go up on stage and just recite a song that hella other people promoted because you paid them to make it a hot song. But that's not the true essence, I think, of why we get into this. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, sir. I'm preaching. Let's go to the next question, because I can do this all night.
Damn. Yeah. Can't disagree with anything you've said so far.
Maybe I should get more controversial. No, I'm just like.
I mean, you could if you really wanted to.
Maybe with tact, though, because my mom's gonna watch this, so you know, I'm gonna be around her in the next 2 days. So,
but that's controversial. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't even want to hear that, though. A lot of people don't want to hear the harsh reality of like the intricate details that go into it. You know?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
You could gloss over that and just think that the music is gonna be enough to like generate and develop a fan base. That's so it's not that controversial, but
yeah, I mean, it's controversial to people who just want that to be the case. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
You know, and success, and people just think if I just keep posting, I'm gonna go viral. And the truth is, it's not a 0% chance that you're gonna go viral, but it's very rare. Like, it's like people don't. I have literally sat in rooms with people who have entire PR teams that are the reason they went viral. It's like they had coordinated posts with influencers. They had a budget of $50,000, and to you just started seeing that video pop up. They've been rolling that little clip of something out for 3 months, and they had the song ready, and they had this thing ready, and they had 10 influencers, not just the big ones, because that doesn't seem organic, right? Yeah. So you had the person with 1 million followers, a person with 50,000, a person with 150,000, and they're literally paying these people $2,000 to post this video. And then you're just like, "Oh, isn't it so dope that Snoop Dogg posts your video?" And it's like, they pay him $15,000 to post that video. Yeah. You don't know that because they don't want you to know that, because that's not organic. Yeah. But, you know, but it's like and sometimes, the 1 in 10,000 people that are sitting at home making great music, and then somebody just shares their video or taps in with them or whatever. It happens. But it's not like an everyday thing. So I would never tell an artist to bank on that. Like, just bank on just posting, and eventually, because how many people do we know will post a reel and it'll get like 600,000 views on Instagram, but they not viral? Like, they just look, you got that one video on your page that's still going up. but nobody's following you. You still got the same amount of followers. You because it's like it's a calculated effort. So shout out to the people who work behind the scenes, but you know, I just feel like it's sad when artists have that fake hope. Like, oh, I'm gonna just go viral because the homie went viral. It's like the homie didn't tell you he had a $60,000 budget, so he didn't tell you that, and it wasn't a budget that they just gave him. He's paying that back. Like, you know, I've seen that. So.
There's a lot more to it than just what we see.
Absolutely.
You know, they go in the background is crazy.
They call it the music business for a reason. It is they take your music and they inject it into the business. So that's why but you know, whatever. I am a part of the music business because I'm an indie artist, so I have to be a part of it. I can't let my business fall by the wayside. So
yeah, I mean, that's just kind of what it is.
Absolutely.
Like as basic as that sounds, you know, shoot. But you know, let's keep it within the music. And actually, no, we can go into all your creative endeavors.
Yes, sir.
But what exactly do you want to, I guess, kind of promote to people, like whether it be through your music, your writing, even your acting? Like, is there anything in particular that really is like, no, this is like the main goal, or is it just multiple?
Man, I think the main goal used to be just music, but I think now because of everything that I've kind of unfolded, like, you know, I'm 2 books in. I just released my 13th album. Then I was in a, Reckless Behavior, the series with me, T. Carrier, a couple other people that are, you know, great actors, and also happen some of them just be the homies who are also great actors. And so I think what I want to expose people to is whatever I'm putting my name behind, because that means I believe in it, right? Like, if tomorrow I decide to, like, you know, start promoting hats, like, I'm not creating these original design pieces of attire because I don't believe in them. You know what I'm saying? I believe they have a role or a space for some reason. It's not like I'm just trying to sell hats to make money. I'm not trying to write books just so I could sell books and make money. Like, because there's something behind it that I want people to have. So I feel like whatever I'm putting my name behind, it's something that I either created or worked to help create. So I feel like that's what I want. I feel like right now I'm focusing on music. Right now I'm finishing, you know, Valley High Heartbreak Volume 2. That's going to drop at the top of the year. And then I might spend 6 months promoting that. But while I'm doing that, I might be like, oh, I want to write and produce a short film. So then the next thing you hear from me in May or June may be like short film. And some people are kind of like, well, you got to keep your brand consistent. And I'm like, there's so many people that are just not one thing anymore. Like, you know, I feel like that's the old way of thinking. So whatever I'm putting my name behind, that's what I would say I want people to know. Just know me for being for quality art. That's what I would say. Like, quality creations, quality art. That's what I want people to know me for and pay attention to me for, because I'm not putting out anything that's just there for, you know, like some sellout type of shit. Like, I'm just, you know, whatever, like, here, buy this new bubble gum because I'm Cash Campaign. Like, that's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not ever gonna do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even if I'm selling bubble gum, it's gonna be because I believe in it and I'm putting my name behind it and I'm helping develop whatever is coming out. Like, that's what it's gonna be. So that's a long-winded way to answer that really in-depth question. You asking me like these questions where, like, I feel like the homies sit around and answer that one question for an hour. You asking it right now. I'm like, he did his homework. He's like really asking me some shit.
I mean, that's the goal. That's why we have conversations.
Amen.
It's like, if it was just yes or no questions, like, dude, we could do that all day. But
we could text that.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Like, that's why we want to have people come out to Lovely Day for a conversation.
Exactly.
And I think that's dope, though. Like, I totally get where you're coming from. You want to have people, well, not just people, but like your quote unquote brand be, you know, part of everything that you do.
Absolutely.
Like, anything that makes sense, whatever is appropriate at the time.
Yes.
Like, shoot, why not?
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Because when you put your heart behind it, and I feel like when you're invested in it, how it makes sense comes through like seamlessly. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not looking at somebody like, even if you're looking at somebody like, why is he doing that now? It's like, once you take 5 minutes to hear the journey to it, you're like, oh, I get it. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I want. That's what I'm looking at, you know? So that's where we are right now. And I'm probably in the most calm creative space I've ever been in my career, where I don't feel like I'm doing anything for this thing or because of this, or like, you know, I'm chasing this accolade, or, you know. And you go through, you got to get, that's when artists talk about like making music, I'm like, the hardest part is going to be your journey of finding out who you are and like settling into yourself as an artist. Like, you know, I remember when like I heard certain songs, I'd be like, damn, I wish I would have wrote that song, or I could make a song just like that and my shit could go up just like that. So I go to studio, I make 3 of those songs, but maybe that's not my lane, you know what I'm saying? And you know, when the New Bay sound was hitting, and, you know, Love Rance and Sue was going crazy with Up, and then, you know, just everybody was dropping, you know, and it was just like, you know, Raven Justice was like on KMEL like every 20 minutes, and I was just like, damn, like, I love this R&B bass shit, like, I want to make this shit too. And I made some songs and they did some noise, but like the ones that I made that were really truly me, they didn't sound nothing like that, but they were well received, way more received than that. So you got to go through that journey of figuring out who you are. It's like, I feel like you go through that when you're a teenager. It's like you try different styles and different spaces and friend groups, and then you realize, like, I'm gonna just be who I am. Like, I can't be this, I can't be that, and I'm weird in this way, but I'm cool in this way. And that's where I'm at right now. And I'm just like, let's go. Like, I feel like honestly, no cocky shit, I feel like I can't miss with whatever I create, because I'm not creating it on some phony shit. So I feel like I can't miss. Even if it doesn't do 100 million units, it's like, maybe that's what it was. It wasn't supposed to do that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm fine with that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I feel like that's where your confidence comes from.
That's hard too, though, because, you know, just being creative in general, you always want to seek validation.
Yeah.
And, I mean, coming to a position where you're like, hey, you know what? I'm just putting it out. This is what I feel. It is what it is.
Right.
And just letting it rock. That's hard.
It is. But you know what? It's so crazy. I had this like kind of like internal like spiritual realization where like I was really making songs. I had won like some awards from like some smaller publications that were like, you know, R&B singer of the year, or, you know, and then I started hitting milestones where, like, you know, you do your vision board or your list of like goals you had, and I had like on my list of goals to perform at certain venues, or, you know, to do songs with certain artists, or like I remember when I first started making music, like one of my main goals was get my song played on 106 KMEL. Like that was like a goal. Like I gotta get that. I gotta get on 106 KMEL. And then I remember sitting there and like Big Von introduced my song and played it, and then people like calling me weeks later, like it was playing on the radio, and they were like, I was just in Walmart and somebody turned on like the stereo in like the stereo section, and your song was on KMEL. Like, what the heck? And I'm just like, okay, so that's cool. Like that's hella bomb. I had a desire to perform at the New Parish. I was like, I got to get at the New Parish. I got to be on the stage at the New Parish. Did the New Parish. I wanted to do brick and mortar, right? Did brick and mortar, headline brick and mortar. Then again, I was on the marquee out front. So all of these things are like happening, and then like I'm like, well, when the hell do I get famous? Like, when is this shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, and then I was like, oh, I want to do 1 million streams on SoundCloud. Because remember when SoundCloud was like popping? I was like, I want to do 1 million on SoundCloud. So then I did 1 million on SoundCloud, and I'm like, when am I gonna get paid for this? Like, what are we doing? Like, are they gonna call me to do Oracle next? Like, what's popping, bro? Like, I'm just at work right now, like all of that, right? And so then I just had this like epiphany, because I was like frustrated, and I was like, okay, maybe I need to pivot. Like, what am I doing this for, right? Like, that's what I asked myself. And then this is gonna sound like super deep, but all my inner thoughts are like hella deep, because I'm a writer. So I was thinking about it. And I was just like spiritually like going through this journey of like, most of the artists that have influenced me the most are not big, super known artists, right? Like, how many times have you been like at your grandma's house, you found this old album or CD, and it's just some dude named like Billy Jenkins, and he has like, you're listening to this album and you're like, damn, this is good. Like, came out in what year? 1990. This album, the guitar solos is fire. Just all of this, right? And you have and then you get online and you look at Billy Jenkins, and he had like 2 albums and nobody knows where he's at now and all this, but you listen to that CD, and then when Spotify comes on, then you go follow Billy Jenkins and you listen to that, and it's like, I started to realize like, okay, like, how many times have you seen an artist, Stevie Wonder, you know, Beyonce, whomever, and then they talk about the people that influenced them, and there's always 2 or 3 artists where they're like, so and so, nobody ever heard of him, but he was a local rapper in Houston, and he just used to do these great melodies and all of this. And I'm like, well, sometimes we have to be okay with the fact that we're not going to be like the next somebody or as big as somebody, but maybe our art is going to be so powerful that we inspire the first somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like Usher's inspired by some people we probably never heard of. But, you know, how many old school artists, James Brown, Michael Jackson, they were like, there was this dude that used to perform on the Chitlin circuit, and he used to tear the house down, and none of y'all know his name. But I took my so-and-so from him and my stage presence from him. Sometimes you're going to be that person. The thing that social media and the internet does is it now gives us a voice louder than those people who came before us. But I just realized, like, I'm not doing it. Like, if I do 1 million streams, that's bomb. But if one person says, like, that was the shit that got me in the studio when I heard that you did, that's worth more than 1 million streams. Because people get 1 million streams and you really think their song is trash. And I'm not throwing no shots, but that's just true. I've seen songs that have like 23 million streams, and I'm like, how? Like, what are we doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? And then I see songs that went crazy and they got like 4 million, and I'm like, so that's not the measuring stick. You know what I'm saying? Like, the measuring stick is you first heard that song and you was like, I'm finna write some raps too, because this is what I wanted to hear. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes I tell myself, like, even if it doesn't hit, but it's good, it'll be that for somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody be listening to Cash Campaign in 30 years and be like, that's your uncle, that's your grandpa. Like, oh man, I went and did my first song because I heard that song one day on YouTube when I was, or whatever YouTube is gonna be called in 30 years. You know, and it's just like, well, that made it worth staying up and writing that record and shooting that video and doing all that because you got something from it. That's enough sometimes. So
that was like an episode right there by itself. I was just
clip that, cut that as a clip.
Yeah.
We're going viral, guys.
We're out of here.
We don't have the marketing for that. I'm sorry. I only got $12.
I got 12. You got 12. He got 12. We lit.
No, that's dope. Like, you definitely don't think about it like that, or like, I think a lot of people don't think about it like that. You're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do music, and you want to get attention, you want to get accolades in some way,
Right.
but there's some things that are just more important.
Yeah. In most cases, the things that are more important are more important than the accolades. You know what I'm saying? So how many artists you know that 5-time Grammy winner and just lose their spirit to create because, you know, it's just not. But then you know a guy who's just a songwriter, instrumentalist, and 30-year career, and they love doing it. They ain't never had a #1 record that had their name on the front or anything, but 30 years they've been working with artists, and they're good. Like, I think of like Daryl Simmons, who is a part of L.A. Reid and Babyface and LaFace. Like, Daryl Simmons, out of those three guys, has written and produced 100 million records sold, right? He wrote and produced Nice and Slow for Usher solo in the studio. People don't know that. Like, Babyface and L.A. Reid are the faces of it, but Daryl Simmons has been right there for 90% of TLC, 90% of Usher, 90 all of them. And so, but he just be chilling. You see him on Instagram, he got like 15,000 followers, but he's a multi-millionaire, part owner of one of the biggest record labels of all time. Like, he just chilling, and he be going to little speaking events and wearing his dad jeans and a sweater. And it's just like, I got older and I realized that's who I wanted to be. I wanted to be Daryl Simmons. I used to want to be Babyface, and don't get me wrong, if you give me the option to be Babyface or Daryl Simmons, I'll probably be Babyface, right? But Daryl Simmons is who you really want to be, because Daryl Simmons can go to a 5-star elite resort in Hawaii and pay for the presidential suite, and you will not know who he is. And he's chilling. And he could FaceTime Usher right now and be like, Usher be like, "What's up, Aunt?" That's legendary. That's real legendary status. Like, being so famous that you can't walk through the mall it's fun when you're like 22 and you want girls. That's great. But being Daryl Simmons and like T-Boz is asking if you could pick up some Chinese food on the way to the studio, that's lit.
Kind of live.
That's fire. That's life right there.
Live.
You know what I'm
that's
saying?
Live. Yeah.
So that's what I started to realize. Like, damn, I just want to have like 5. All I said was, God, just if I write 100 great hits, and I only am as a solo artist, I'm not known for much. Just give me 2 songs that are like my notable songs, because I don't want to be a one-hit wonder where I can only go to the show and do that one damn song that everybody knows. Give me two. Give me two. Give me the open the set with one, and then the second one everybody like, oh shit, and that's it. And then I'm done. Then I could just be in the background.
Man,
like, that's all I wanted.
I'm with that.
So
yeah.
You got to get me back on track, bro, because I'm gonna just go.
No, I know.
Like,
We'll bring it back.
I'm gonna go. Like, that's
You're good. I mean, that's what these are for. They're just straight up conversations. Wherever it takes us, that's where we're going.
Yes, sir.
But you did mention a little bit of talking about people, inspiring people. Who are your inspirations?
Dang, man.
And not just musically, because you are multifaceted.
Right. Yes. I would say. Let me see. Who are my inspirations? Well, outside of music, I would have to say my dad. Like, my dad is the first artist that I ever knew and met and saw up close. You know, he owned and operated his own playwright and production company for pretty much my whole life. I mean, still to this day.
Wow, that's cool.
My dad created a board game that was like actually sold in stores. It was sold at Lucky, like when board games were still sold at Lucky. He actually used to get it manufactured in San Francisco, and like he brought me out to the city to see them, like, you know, the little machines like printing the game and all that.
Yeah, that's bananas.
And so like stuff like that, and then just producing his own stuff. Like, my dad's written 13 original plays. He's had them performed in off-Broadway. Like, he wasn't in them, but he produced them and wrote them, and, you know, all that, and, you know, all of that. So, and he had like B and C list, like famous friends that at the time I didn't really care about, because they weren't, you know, when you're a kid, it's either you're the A-list person or like, who is this guy from that one movie that we watched. But like now I'm like, them dudes is still acting, like, you know, and I'm watching them on Netflix, and I'm like, this dude was at my house, like, we was, you know. And so in Sacramento, my dad was based out of Sacramento in the 90s and early 2000s doing this. This is pre-social media, pre-internet reach, all that stuff. And so I would say my dad first, because he really showed me how to like own something. Like, he really showed, like, I remember when my dad wanted to create a website for his business, and like he went to a meeting with this guy who was going to charge him like $2,000 to make the website, and then he was just like, nah, he was like, I'm gonna just go to the store and make it myself. And he went and bought like website design for dummies, like the actual dummies line for like whatever you wanted. It was like whatever for dummies. He bought web design for dummies and sat for a month and made his own like website for his business. Now,
What year was this? What year?
This was before 2000. This was 97, 98, something like that. Okay. And so like, now I'm not going, I mean, also most websites probably wasn't hitting at this time, and his website wasn't winning no awards for design, but it was a functioning cool website with, like, you know what I'm saying. And this is, you know, a black man from the hood who was fortunate enough to get out and get a degree, and he's running his own business, raising his kids and all of that. So I would say my dad first. I would say musically, I would say, I already said his name, but Babyface was really an inspiration for me, like when I was deciding the type of artist I wanted to be, because I feel like Babyface had, if you remember, when LaFace Records was like it for R&B in like the early 90s, and then Babyface and his wife, or his wife at the time, they started getting into movies. Like, they made Soul Food, they made Have Plenty.
Pebbles, right?
No, Pebbles was L.A. Reid's wife, but Tracy
that.
Edmonds was Babyface's wife. And they did Soul Food. They did a somewhat independent movie called Have Plenty. And they did the soundtrack for all of those soundtracks, whatever. Now, granted, a lot of them movies that they did that were black movies were, now you look back, they was toxic as hell. Like, everybody was breaking hearts and sleeping with cousins and whatever. But they were feature films that showcased our blackness and our creativity and all that. And so, and then to see Babyface still be like 61, 62, still look good, still making music, still singing, still songwriting. I just realized, well, I didn't realize, but I look at credits on all the songs and stuff that I like. And on Bruno Mars's 24 Karat Magic, he was writing and producing on Bruno's 24 Karat Magic. Wow. Like, you know what I'm saying? And this is pop kind of funk soul that people aren't thinking about. And so Babyface, for sure. There's an artist that's no longer with us, but his name was Sam Salter. He was actually signed to Babyface in the late 90s, early 2000s. He was a songwriter. He wrote Incomplete for Cisco. He was signed at 18 years old, and his story goes that him and Usher were signed at the same time to LaFace, and they had to decide who they were going to put the budget behind. and ultimately Usher got the budget because, you know, he was pretty boy, 6-pack, you know, dancing, doing backflips shit. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I mean, I'm not, that wasn't a bad investment considering Usher still, you know, but Sam Salter was still a beast. He was still a dog. And like, he passed recently, like a couple years ago. It was really like, I was like one of a handful of people that were sad because a lot of people didn't. He only made one major label album, and he's one of the people I talk about, like, that influenced me. And then, you know, just, I would say, you know, I would definitely, and even if I don't listen to their music as far as the R&B tip, I would say like a lot of the legendary folks like E40, like 40 Water is like an example of somebody who transcends with where they've come from to get where they're at, and understands, like, I'm not trying to do nothing to jeopardize this. Like, I'm a sell wine, I'm gonna do this, I'm not gonna be in the street, I'm still gonna be an OG, I'm still gonna be tapped in, but I'm elevating myself, and I don't care if y'all don't like it, I'm gonna still stay true to myself, but I'm not finna stay in the trenches, you know. And so that's somebody that's always, and I met him when I first started in my music career. We actually had a show together, and I performed at the show and I hosted the show, and I just saw how him and his team moved, and he was super like humble, talked to me, no big boy like whatever type stuff, like he was just cool. And he just showed up and he was like, I want some chicken in my dressing room, and I want two leader Carlos Rossi. And he literally, that's all he wanted. He came, he showed up, he did 45 minutes, and he got $10,000 for that 45 minutes. And I was like, there might be something to this persistent music career thing. Like, you know, because you think that like he got 10,000 45 minutes, but he did what, 25 years before that in the music game. Go. So there you go. You know, and so people like that, man, just and definitely like the homies who are pushing forward, like that are making good art. So, you know, like T. Carrier, Casey Cope, Netta Brielle, like folks that are like, I'm gonna trust in my talent and move the needle regardless. So it's too many to name, but you know, take something from everybody that I respect. So how about that, Sean? You quality content, putting things together for people to get their voice out. That's an inspiration. It motivates us to do our best so we can have something to talk to you about.
Damn. I mean, we probably find something to talk about regardless, but I definitely appreciate that.
It's easier when our stuff don't suck. So there you go.
You got a point there.
Yes, there you go.
It definitely helps when whatever you are putting out is quality.
Yes, sir.
I guess slightly diverging from the music a little bit, how did you get into acting? Was it mostly just through Reckless Behavior, or were there other things going on? Because you did mention that your dad had worked off Broadway. Yeah, that was it. Yeah. My dad was doing community theater from the time I can remember, and he would just, the first time I ever did anything on stage with acting, my dad wanted me to be in this thing called the Oral Language Fair, which is just like a speech competition in California. I don't know if they still do it, but he kind of just told me I was gonna do it. And so I was just like, all right. And then, I'm gonna sign you up for this. You got this on Saturday, right? Exactly. That's what it was. That's exactly what it was. And then he was like, here's your monologue that you're doing. And it was a monologue from a play that he had written. And you know, I was just like, okay, I was reading it and I was doing this, and he was just like, no, you gotta act. You gotta make this real. You gotta make me believe it. And so the monologue was about a kid who was talking about having gone through a car accident with his mom, and his mom was hurt, but she recovered and worked hard to provide a life for him and his siblings and all that stuff, right? And so my dad was like, if you deliver this right, people should be crying. Like they should be crying. And he was, because it's pretty, right? But he was like, it's pretty graphic. Like in the monologue, in my monologue, I talked about waking up in the car and seeing my mom's like face like through like the steering wheel through her jaw. And so it was all of that. And I'm like 10. Yeah, okay. I'm like 10, right? So he just made me go in a room and he was like, come out and recite it. And if I don't believe you, you're not there yet. And so we did that, right? So that was the first time I had to go on stage and like make somebody believe something. Whoa. That was number one. And so after that, it just became a situation where my dad was like, okay, I'm doing this play, you're finna be in it. And
did you make them cry? Did anybody cry?
Oh, they cried. I actually got all the way to the regional. I got all the way to the regional, like state, like Northern California region. I was in the top 3. And I was about 12 by the time I got to regionals, and I really I played basketball my whole life, and I was just like, I really just want to hoop. I really just want to hoop. And my dad was like, we got regionals, they driving all the way out here, and there's all these, and they're really serious, they're getting ready, they're warming their voices up, they're doing all that type of stuff. And I'm like, man, I'm finna bomb this so I could go hoop. And so I literally went up there and I was just like, and this is what happened on that day, and blah blah blah.
Shit.
And I still got second place.
That's great.
I still got second place, man. Yeah, I was, and my dad was so mad. He was like, man, if you would have did that, if you would have been on the way to state, And I was just, but I had no remorse because I just wanted to go hoop.
He was over
I was a 12-year-old boy going on 13. I was getting super serious with hoop. I just wanted to go play basketball. That's it. And
good experience though.
It was good experience.
Yeah, that's right.
And so from there, I didn't do much more acting until I got serious with music. I started writing. I wrote 2 short films. One is called Fast Food Monday, and one is called Solano Ave. And one of my great friends, Tyler Polani, he helped me film it, and they're on YouTube. And we put these short films together, and then so I went from that. And then Solano Ave was the second one, and that was really what got my bug back from acting. And then Reckless Behavior called, and I really just got back into it. But acting is a different part of your brain creatively, because you really have to embody the character. You can't, it's not your message, it's the message that someone else wrote for you to deliver. And so it's a totally different approach. And I don't play around with acting because actors are serious about their craft. So it's people that literally they go through something to be able to tap into that character. And so when I do it, which I would love to do more of, I'm gonna take it seriously. I'm not gonna be making an album and then kind of shooting this thing, and it's I'm gonna be immersed and I'm gonna show it respect. But I'd love to do something for real. I've talked to Michaela from Reckless Behavior, and I was like, my character can go so many places, some dark places, some crazy places, and I'm down to do it. Let's do it. Let's let's be the Kendrick Lamar character from Power, where he was a crackhead for 3 episodes. You really have to become that person, So, but yeah, I love acting, man. I have a high regard for it, even probably higher than singing. Acting, shooting a movie for 3 months, being a whole different character, and having to unload that when you're done. That's totally different creatively.
Try to unload it. I heard cats not being able to unload it.
Yeah, I think that's why some of our best actors are people that are tormented.
Fully. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they got something going on.
Yeah, look at Heath Ledger, man. It's he was the Joker, but he tapping into something, man. You can't just flip that switch off in your brain. You know what I'm saying? So
different.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Acting's a whole different bag for sure.
It is a whole different bag. So,
I guess pivoting again though to one of your other talents, you've written a couple books.
Yes, sir.
What kind of got you into that thought or place of mind, but also just what kind of drove you to let me get more into the writing itself?
Yeah, I would say I won't go super long-winded on this because you're asking some good questions, but I gotta keep it succinct. I would say to write a book, I had been gifted a book about imperfect people and how we journey to still do good in the world. And I just looked at the book and I was just this is not by some fancy author. It's super simple, and this guy is an author. And I'm dang, I was I think I could do this, but I didn't do anything with that thought. And then I work in higher education, and so a lot of the people that I work in higher education with, professors and stuff like that, we're having meetings, and they have they're on I'm on my 6th book, and I'm man, I work with you every day and you got 6 books out. I can
Where do you find the time?
Right. And I'm just you know what, man, maybe I should really look at this. And so the first book I did was a book of poetry, relationship based poetry, because that's kind of close to music. And then I always admired Pac for having his book of poetry. You know what I'm saying? He was one of the first black men I ever seen write something that was vulnerable, but it wasn't just soft or corny. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
And so when I read Rose That Grew from the Concrete, I was just it just unlocked something in my brain. And so I was let me write a book of poetry that kind of speaks in that vein. So I did the book of poetry, and then I felt once that opened up, I saw that I could do it and publish a book. then I was like, what else do I have to say? And then I felt like a lot of folks were struggling with like personal motivation and self-confidence and believing in the steps that they were taking in life. And so that's when I wrote that book right there, which is for sale on all major platforms for Black Friday prices until January 1st.
It's turned to a commercial.
It's called Everything You Need and Some Things.
$60,000.
There you go. Plug. It's called Everything You Need and Some Things You Think You Don't, and it's a 30-day, month-long motivation. So there are like 35 to 40 pages in the book, and every chapter is 1 page-ish, and you are supposed to start at the top of the month or any time of the month, but you start at the top of the month, you read it for a month. There's journal inserts in there where you can journal, talk about how you feel, what you're reflecting on, and the goal is by the end of the month, you're better. And I would say the message of the whole book is if you only take 1 step every day to get better, by the end of the year, you're 365 steps farther than you were at the beginning. And when you first start out, you look back, you're not that far. But once you get to the end, you look back, you're like, damn, I'm 365 steps down. And the book just tries to hammer some of those points in. And so I was super impressed with myself for putting this book out, because it has nothing to do with music, nothing to do with art, nothing to do with none of that. There's no Cash Campaign in that book. It's, you know, it's Dr. Cameron Parker in that book. And so that was probably my biggest like milestone of the year, you know. And so I don't know what else. I was asking myself this week, like, what other books can I write? And I just think that's for God to give me, not for me to decide first. So, but 2 books in, 13 albums. I want to take this time to announce my retirement from the NBA. No, I'm just
Damn, but those accolades are crazy.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know many people who've done that much music, but also written books and act, like just being everywhere. And you know, I think ultimately that is something that, I mean, I think you've kind of come to that position already too, but it's important to look back and be like, hey, no, I did this shit.
Yeah. Actually, the only reason I wrote down all of my albums and counted them out and, you know, kind of keep like a log is on those days where I feel like, why am I even doing this? You know what I'm saying? Like I had like a therapy session. My therapist was like, you should write down all your albums. And I was like, why? I already know them all. And then she was like, no, you should write them down so that you can remember. Because I had shared when I started writing my first album, when I went to my first studio session for my first album, the biggest fear I had like a knot in my throat, because I was like, what if I can't write a whole song? Because I had never written a song, because I was like writing with my homeboys rapping, but I wasn't singing. Like I thought singing was the softest shit in the world. So I was like, I'm not singing nothing. I'm writing all raps and it's all hyphy and we all going dumb. Like that's what I was trying to do. And then my friend was like, man, you could sing. If you don't get in there and sing something, like sing a hook for me or something. And so I remember I did my first song and I was just trying to figure out how to write a whole song from beginning to end. So I do that. He like, let's start working on an album. I'm like, man, do I got an album worth of stuff to write? Like, I don't even know. What am I going to write? What am I going to talk about for 12 songs? Like, crazy. It took me a week to write this one. So after the session, she was just like, you need to remind yourself that there was once a time where you was worried that you could even write one song. Damn. And now you're 13. And she was like, and that's not even counting all the songs you made that never came out. Shit, you know, or that you did a feature for or whatever. And I'm like,
got a gang of shit out there.
I got it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, okay. And so I did it, and it helps on them days where I'm like, I have writer's block. I don't even feel like going to the studio. I'm like, oh, I'm here to do this. Like, I can do this. So it helps. So I encourage everybody to keep a little resume so you can remind yourself who you are, because you're going to need it some days. So
here's the studio question. You keep talking about going to the studio. You don't record at the crib by yourself?
I do.
Okay.
I do. Sorry.
So I was like, hold on. 2024, I'm like, wait a minute. You going to the studio? I was going to give you a lot of credit.
No, I do go to the studio. I was actually in the studio last Saturday with my cousin Stoney and incredible artist Prenda Bell. So we were in there and we were working, and I was polishing up the last 2 songs from my album. But now, ever since the pandemic, I bought my basic recording stuff, and I usually will like find a space. I used to record at work because I had an office at work. So when everybody would go home, I just set my stuff up in the office, light some candles in the office and pour a glass of wine, and I'm in there. I'm making whatever. I recorded half of this album that I just put out in my office at work. So, and even when I rent studios now, I don't rent like with an engineer and the whole thing. It's just a space. Let me set up. It's treated. I can do whatever. And then sometimes, and during the pandemic, I would actually just rent like hotel rooms and just go in the hotel room, because that's the only thing that was open, and you just rent a hotel room and you just record in there for like 6-7 hours, and it's about the same as studio time would be. Damn. So and so that's super clutch. Like I'm telling every artist right now, if you can't get in the studio, don't go to no like trap hotel, because then you'll get robbed, because you got like thousands of dollars of equipment with you. But like just book a room at like the Hilton for like $130 plus tax, and you got parking, you can eat in there, you got a TV, you can play. You can't slap your music, but you could play it. And it's safe, because people coming in, they got cameras in the lobby, all of that. So if that's your last resort and you got your own little setup and your house is full, and your kids is there, or your whatever family is there, just book a room and just go there from however long you want. You could stay there till 3 a.m. and do whatever you want to do. So that's like a clutch thing that I found in the pandemic, that like it works. Or Airbnb, but Airbnbs be taxing. Yeah, like $250 a night. Different cleanup fee be $85,000, and so you like, I might as well just not go. So. Okay. But that's to answer that question. Studio is, I only go to like 1 or 2 studios. Studio X in Oakland, and then the Reef in Oakland too. The Reef Studio.
Shout out to Reef.
The Reef, So
always across the board.
Studio X.
Yep, Studio X and the Reef is the only ones I really go to, other than the Q, which is Casey and Marquito, but that's like family, so that's different.
No, that's good advice right there.
That's major. I've always thought about doing that. I've never done it though. I'm like, man, I'm gonna go do. I want to go stay in San Francisco and get a. I never do it though. You know what I'm saying? I never do it.
It's worth it.
It's right good to hear it though.
It's worth it. Yeah, it's worth it. And you know what I'm saying? If you get like, if you trying to have people pull up, you get one of them rooms that has like the couch in the whatever, so like you could just literally, it's like a living room, you know what I'm saying? And then you just up in there, and you can have food in there and do whatever you want to do. Not whatever you want to do. You can make music and be comfortable in a space, you know what I'm saying? And it's cool. And then, most hotels, they have like, because people travel for business, they have a desk with a chair set up, plenty of outlets, everything like that. My brother first gave me the idea because when he was recording, he was tired of being in studios for a while, and so him and his team booked the Airbnb in Berkeley, in the Berkeley Hills, that just overlooked the whole bay. Ooh. And that was the first time I ever seen anybody take their recording stuff to like not their house where they had everything set up with the desk and everything, but like literally we set the mic up facing the view, and it was just like, I was just like,
that's it.
It changed my mind forever. I'm like, because I used to love being in a dark studio with the 1 or 2 candles lit, and you at the console recording. And then when I did that, I was like, man, hell nah. We could be up in some beautiful Malibu beach front.
We don't need to be in the
condo.
dungeon.
Hell yeah. I'm like, hell nah. Turn that light on, bro. Like it changed my whole thing, bro. It changed my whole thing. So. Shout out to my brother. Shout out to Collaborate. Shout out to my brother, man.
Collaborate.
Working hard, yeah. Shout out
Crazy
to my brother.
MC, man.
Yes, sir. Yeah. One of the best.
That too. I knew that.
Yes, one of the best, man. My blood brother, not like
that's
my
your brother.
That's my brother. My brother, same father, same mother, brother.
Oh, that's bananas.
Yeah, so
crazy.
Yeah, shout out to my
We're getting
brother.
all these connections here.
Yeah.
Bennett was here the other week, and he'd hopped into the session with Collaborate.
Yeah.
And Casey was there too, so it was
that's all the squad.
Everyone's here.
And Hamza got the joints with Collaborate.
That's the squad, man. We all working, we all moving.
Okay.
Well, I mean, before we get into wrapping everything up, but also for what you want to perform.
Yes, sir.
What are you working on currently? You kind of alluded to it a little bit.
Yeah. The part 2 of my project, Valley High Heartbreak, Volume 1 came out. Volume 2 will be out in January. Right now, we're just finishing the last song. We're getting the last song mixed because it wasn't gonna be. The album was done, and then I made a song on the fly And then I was like, man, this song pretty good. Like, I want this to be on the album. And then I talked to a few, I won't say who the features are, but the features are ridiculous. And I'm just like, this got to be on the album. So we finally got the last verses and ad-libs and everything. And so it's about to start getting mixed, and then it's going to be on the album. We got the videos done. We got all that stuff done. But I had that one last song that I had to get on there. So Valley High Heartbreak Volume 2 is coming out. And then end of February, early March, Valley High Heartbreak Deluxe will come out with a couple of songs that aren't out yet, and some songs that I came out with some years ago that I feel like now I have a bigger platform, so folks will listen to them and appreciate them more. So we're doing that. So Valley High Heartbreak Volume 2 is coming out, and it's gonna be a beautiful piece of R&B art for sure. I'm proud of it already.
Funky fresh.
Hell yeah, looking forward to it.
Yes, sir. Me too. I listened to it. I was listening to one of the songs from the album on Sunday when I was in the car, and I like turned it up hella loud, and I love the mix. Like the vocals came through perfect, and the mix is just immaculate. Shout out to Ian McKee, the mechanic, my engineer. The mix came through perfectly, and I just got like, you know how you just get like, you so juiced, you just get like aggressive. Like I was listening to the mix, and I was like, damn, you a singing ass nigga, boy. You a singing ass nigga. I just turned that shit on. I was like, I was juiced. I was just like, cause I was listening to it, and that reverb was hitting, and the delay, it sounded hella emotional, and I had it up on like 50 on the speaker, and I was just like, you a singing ass nigga. Oh, get it. And I got out the car, like somebody probably looked at me hella weird, like, damn, was he arguing with somebody? Nah, I was just juiced. I'm like, damn, this shit gonna slap when it come out. God damn.
That ring camera footage is gonna be crazy.
Yes, because it was definitely in front of the house, so it was like, I know I just looked hella weird. Like somebody was like, all right, man, you all right? You need me to call? I'm like, nah, the song was just hitting. I'm sorry. Whose song was? It's actually mine. It was just hitting. So, but yes, I can't wait for y'all to hear it for sure.
Nah, that sounds dope. Hell,
Yes,
looking
sir.
forward to it.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, Cash Campaign, Cameron, thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure speaking to you. Look forward to everything else you've got coming in the future.
Yes, sir.
And you're gonna, like I said, you're gonna perform.
Yes.
What's the name of the track?
Holy Matrimony. It's been out for some time, but it's a song that me and my brother did, and it's one of the first songs that we did that really has some mainstream success. So I love doing it because I feel like it's a staple in my catalog. So, we're gonna do it today. And
Who produced it?
Wax Roof. So Wax is been everywhere.
He's a musician-y guy.
Yeah.
I know him through G Coop,
Yep.
artist, musician.
Yep.
Plays
Wax.
everything.
Yep. Wax Roof produced it with the guy who I think did some keys on it named Daoud. So Wax sent it to me years ago and went to his house, and we just went over hella beats, and the crazy thing is that beat, I couldn't think of anything to write to that beat at all, like nothing. I was just like, this song don't make no sense melodically, all that. And then I was listening to it while I was working out, and literally while I was working out, the whole song came to me. Whole song, I stopped working out and was just like, took my phone and was like voice referencing it, and I was just like, that's the song right there. And then I sent it to him, and he was like, what the fuck, bro? Like, you couldn't even listen to it when we were with me. I'm like, this is gonna be one of them ones. And everybody I played it for before it came out was like, this shit crazy. This is crazy. And so I'm gonna sing it for y'all, and it's gonna be a good time.
All right, well, let's get right into it.
We'll set it
Yes,
off.
sir.
Set it off.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Can I get a little more music? A little bit more. Bar for bar. Cash Campaign. Drums and ammo. Let's go. Hey.
Baby, in this life it seems like I've seen everything. Seen them come, seen them go, seen them in between. I know enough to know ain't nothing else quite like you, queen. Let me break it down and show exactly what I mean. I'm trying to tell you that my intentions are true. You've been my lady, been my baby. I need more than a boo. Let me talk to your father. I know for sure he gon' bless. I'm trying to get to the altar. Just look at me and say yes, I do. Oh, Yeah. You and me. Yeah. You and me. Yeah. Hey, now if you got up this year and you did some cool shit, congrats to you. If you took one step forward every day, then you 365 steps closer to that goal. I celebrate you and I say, girl, I know this might seem strange. Don't think I'm out of order for stepping to you this way. See, babe, I'm in love with your smile. I'm hoping you get hitched with me and have some kids with me, baby. Your mama loves how I love you. Even your daddy been cool. I'll see your brother later today when we hop up on that 2K. And you ain't never gonna find another man to love you like I do. Give me your forever promise, only happiness to you. I do. Oh, appealing, picket fence and children. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I said I know this might seem strange. Order for a step into you. I'm in love with your smile. Hoping you get hitched with me and have some kids with me, baby. Even your daddy been cool, baby. I see your brother later today when we hop up on that 2K. Never gonna find another man to love you like I do. Give me your forever promise, only happiness to you, baby. It'll be fly, I love you for the rest of your life. Girl, ain't nothing more appealing. A white picket fence and children. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, bar for bar, Cash Campaign, drums and ammo. We in this thing. It's a lovely day for a conversation. It's a lovely day for a conversation. Let's get it. Make R&B cool again. I love you.